All right, let's start out with a quiz. Which one is incorrect? Is it A, Dan always plays video games before he going to bed? B, Dan always plays video games before going to bed? Or C, Dan always plays video games before he goes to bed? One of these is incorrect, not correct. Which one is it? Stick around and we will give you the answer later. So, thank you as always for joining the Acquire English Live. This is episode 57, I believe. My name is Adam. I'm an English teacher from the US. I'm here with Tuan, an English teacher from the UK. And each week, what we do is break down a conversation where we talk about various things. In this case, we're going to discuss the grammar for before and after and how to use it. And there's a few different ways to use before and after. So for today, how about we go ahead and take a look at the video? So here we go.
How did your presentation go?
It was terrible.
Why?
My presentation was after lunch. I ate too much and got so sleepy before I started.
I hate that feeling.
I think a few people fell asleep during it.
Okay, and now we'll go line by line and break down that conversation. So the first sentence was this here.
How did your presentation go?
How did your presentation go? Just means, was your presentation good or bad? We use this a lot. How did something go? So how did your day go? How did your vacation go? How did your trip go? This go does not talk about going to a place. It just means, how was it? Tuan, do you use this expression a lot? How did something go?
How did it go? Yeah, we'll use that quite often.
Right. So if you have what are some other situations we could use? How did what go? How did
the interview go? How did the this presentation go? How did the test go?
Yeah, we can use this. We use this many different situations. I would definitely, if you don't know this, I would definitely remember this one. We'll use it a lot in English. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to the next line.
It was terrible.
So it was terrible. In this case, we have all the thumbs down. So it was really bad. The presentation was really bad. So of course, Tuan asks,
Why?
Why? Just why? What was the problem? Why was the presentation terrible?
My presentation was after lunch.
So my presentation was after lunch. So we had lunch and then I gave my presentation. So it seems in this situation, there's maybe many presenters, many different presenters. So there's some presenters, from 11:30 to 12 before lunch. And then you can see me here, my presentation after lunch.
I ate too much and got so sleepy before I started.
So you can see here, pizza, pasta, and cake for lunch before presentation, maybe a bad idea. So I had too much to eat and then I felt tired before the presentation, okay? So I ate too much and then I got so sleepy before I started.
I hate that feeling.
I hate that feeling. So I don't like it when that happens. So Tuan's thinking, oh, I also sometimes eat too much and then get sleepy. So I hate that feeling.
I think a few people fell asleep during it.
So I believe a small number of attendees were sleeping while I was presenting. So my presentation, maybe, again, I'm tired, no energy. You can see a few people starting to sleep while the presentation is going on. Maybe they also ate too much for lunch. We don't know. But let's go ahead and get into the grammar for this lesson. And we're talking about before and after. And it seems like some basic grammar, but there's a few different ways we can use it. So let's take a look here. So remember the first sentence here, we had this one.
My presentation was after lunch.
So my presentation was after lunch. And in this case, lunch is a noun, right? So we can use before or after plus a noun. Okay. And then we also had this one.
I ate too much and got so sleepy before I started.
So I ate too much and got so sleepy before I started. So here we have before plus a subject, in this case, I, and then started is a verb. So we can use before or after, then I or a subject, do something after, before, after I did something or have done. We have our verb here. So our subject and then our verb. And we'll look at some more examples. We could also use this just with the ing with no subject. So we could say before starting, right? So just notice here, before and after, we have these three different patterns we can use, and that's what we're going to work on from here on out. So let's take a look at this one here, and I'm going to need your help here, Tuan. So we have this guy here. So he wakes up, then he has coffee, then he gets dressed, and third, he brushes his teeth. So we're going to start with before. Remember we said we can do before doing, or we can do before plus subject plus verb, right?
Yes.
So how would we do this first one here, Tuan? Can we think of a sentence here?
So if the subject is he,
Mm-hmm.
we can say before he gets dressed, he drinks coffee.
Right. Before he gets dressed, he drinks coffee. And next, what we need to think about here is maybe the sentences before didn't start the sentence with before or after, right? It came in the middle, right? So how would we say this sentence with before in the middle of the sentence?
So we can switch this. We can say he drinks coffee before he gets dressed.
Right. He drinks coffee before he gets dressed, right? Before he puts on clothes, right? So notice this sentence can be said both ways, right? There's two parts of this sentence. We have the before part, before he gets dressed, and we have the he drinks coffee part, okay? So we can switch those around in the sentence and get the exact same meaning. The only difference here is when before comes at the beginning of the sentence, we have this comma, okay? And we can also say it just using an ing. Remember, we eliminate the subject in that sentence. So Tuan, how would we do that one?
So if we use the same two actions, before getting dressed, he drinks coffee.
Before getting dressed, he drinks coffee. Okay. And then if we just switch the two parts of the sentence around.
It's very similar. He drinks coffee before getting dressed.
Right. He drinks coffee before getting dressed. Yep. So just notice here, we have these two different ways to say it, and then two different types. We can switch the sentence around as well. Okay. Now let's look at after. Okay. Same situation. We can use after.
So let's use the other two actions. So after he gets dressed, he brushes his teeth.
after he gets dressed, he brushes his teeth. Okay. And switching the sentence around.
Yeah, so he brushes his teeth after he gets dressed.
Right. He brushes his teeth after he gets dressed. Okay. And then this one here, we're using just ing.
So the ing here would be getting. So after getting dressed, he brushes his teeth.
And same thing.
He brushes his teeth after getting dressed.
Okay, he brushes his teeth after getting dressed. So just like we had with before, after we can use the same type of thing. After and then subject, verb, after doing something, right? Without the subject. That makes sense? Did we miss anything there, Tuan? Are we ready for the next example?
Yeah, we just covered these two. We said the noun one as well, but in this case, yeah, we cannot really use a noun one. We can getting dressed as a noun or brushing your teeth as a noun doesn't really work. So that's why we covered these two.
Right.
With this example.
But in our next example, we do have a noun. So let's look at this one here. So we have Danny or Dan. So you have Danny always plays video games before. So this is nighttime. He's playing, looks like Nintendo Switch or something. So Danny always plays video games before. Danny always plays video games before ing. And Danny always plays video games before subject plus verb. Okay. So you at home watching, please, what noun could we use in this situation here? Give you a few seconds to think about it. Okay, Tuan, what would we say here? Before what?
So there's a few options we can use. Maybe the easier one would be just before bed.
Right.
Which just means, yeah, or we can say before sleep, before bedtime, before nighttime. But yeah, bed is probably the easier one here.
Yeah. It's most natural here, before bed. Okay. So then how do we use the same idea with bed using ing?
If we're using ing, we need an action before bed. So we can say before going to bed.
Right, before going to bed, right, okay. And sorry, we didn't give you much time to answer that one at home, but this last one, how would we do this one here? We'll give you a few seconds. What do you think, Tuan?
Danny's the subject, so we can just say before he goes to bed.
Right, before he goes to bed, right? So we have those three. When Danny always plays video games before bed, Danny always plays video games before going to bed, and Danny always plays video games before he goes to bed. Okay, let's look at the next one. We have Janine, stretched before, and then we have a noun. Janine stretched before ing, and Janine stretched before subject plus verb. How would we answer?
Sorry, before we do, maybe we should go back to the quiz.
Maybe, yeah. So
yeah, to reveal the answer.
So we had these ones right. Which one was correct? So Dan, and we changed his name, right? Dan always plays video games before he going to bed. Dan always plays video games before going to bed. Or C, Dan always plays video games before he goes to bed. So the incorrect answer is which one, Tuan?
A, we didn't use that one.
Right. So before he going, again, when we use the ing, we don't want that subject in there with the ing. So again, this is correct, but with the he, it is not correct. So A is incorrect. B and C are correct. hopefully you got that one. Okay, and let's go back. Now let's go on to the next example here. We have Janine and talking about her stretching. So we need Janine stretched before and then a noun. Janine stretched before ing and Janine stretched before subject plus verb. So I'll give you a few seconds to think about these. Okay, are you ready, Tuan? What do you think with the first one here?
Again, we can use a couple of options. We can say before, so it depends what she's going to do. Is she going to go jogging, running, or just a workout in general? We'll go with jog for this one. So we can say Janine stretched before her jog.
Yeah, we'll say her jog in this case. Yeah, that's a good point. You could also say before her workout would also be okay. Okay, how about this one? Janine stretched before. It's important. So jog is both a noun and a verb, right? So we can say Janine stretched before what, Tuan?
We can just say simply before jogging.
Right. Before jogging, right? And the last one, hopefully you can get this one by now, since we've given you the first two before with jog. Oops. What's our answer here, Tuan?
We can say before she jogs.
Yeah. And of course, this one is past.
Sorry, because it's the past. Yeah.
Right. Before she jogged, right? So Janine stretched before her jog. Janine stretched before jogging, and Janine stretched before she jogged. All three are correct.
Yes, that's one point that, yeah, with the last one, subject and then the verb, we need to be careful with the tense. So if it's a present simple tense, yeah, we have to keep present simple. In this case, yeah, it's the past. But with the ing, I guess we don't need to worry about the tense. It could be either.
We can tell it's past tense by this part here. She stretched before jogging. So we know this is in the past. If this was, every time before she jogs, we could say Janine stretches before jogging. So again, stretches tells us that this is a present simple, so something she normally does or some part of her routine. In this case, we have two past tense, stretched and jogged. Okay, so let's look at this next one. We're not going to give you every answer to these now, but so this situation, low battery. So he didn't charge his phone before what? There's maybe many possible answers here. Try to write your answer in the comments below and see how many different answers we can get. So he didn't charge his phone before. Tuan, what do you think? He didn't charge his phone before.
So it's not so maybe clear in the picture of what the situation is, but we can say maybe before he went out or before he went to bed or before going to bed. But yeah, we can go with any of those.
Yeah. Looking at this now, it's almost midnight, and I never noticed that on his phone. But yeah, maybe before he went out. So he's out on the town, but he has low battery because he didn't charge it before he went out. It works. But if you have a different answer you think works for this situation, please let us know in the comments. Okay. How about the next one here? So Steve, you can see gradually losing weight. So Steve lost a lot of weight after what?
In this case, he wouldn't lose a lot of weight after one action.
Right.
So it would be a little strange to say he lost a lot of weight after he ran. We would say maybe something that he did something for a long period of time. We can say after working out.
Right. He lost a lot of weight after working out. He lost a lot of weight after he started working out. Would also be okay. Many different ones. And if you have one that you think works in this situation, again, let us know in the comments and we'll check to see if it's correct or not. And the next one, got a couple more here. So the restroom looked great. You can see we have before and after pictures. So before, they're working on this this restroom, and after looks very nice. So the restroom looked great after what? Any ideas, Tuan?
We can see the subjects here are maybe some workers. So one way we can say is after the workers fixed it, but I think an ing one would be difficult. Maybe a noun would be easier as well. After the renovation.
Yeah,
that's another good one to use.
It's kind of the one I was thinking. After the
Maybe a little
renovation.
difficult, yeah. The word's a little difficult, but yeah.
Yeah, so renovation means, so they have the room, when you fix up a room and you change all the things inside the room to make it look nice again, we call that renovating. So that renovate. So say the restroom looked great after the renovation. The restroom looked great after they renovated it. It'd also be okay. But if you have another idea, again, please let us know in the comments. And we have one more. Joe fell asleep on the sofa after. What do you think happened? What was Joe doing? What do you think, Tuan?
Some different ideas here again. He's the subject, so we can say after he drank with his friends or after drinking with his friends, but I'm gonna go with after a crazy night out.
After a crazy night out. I haven't had one of those in a while. I feel like I'm getting old. But so Joe fell asleep on the sofa after a crazy night out, right? Sounds good. After he went out with his friends, after drinking, something like that, after a night on the town, something like that. Yeah. Again, share your answer with us. What do you think happened to Joe? Joe fell asleep on the sofa after what? Is that okay? And I think that's going to do it for our examples today. Remember, the couple different ones: before subject plus verb, or before doing something, or also before just with a noun afterwards, right? And the same with after. So after subject and verb, or after ing form of the verb. And then again, we said you can also use just a noun at the end: before bed, after dinner, after lunch, I believe was the one in our example, right? After lunch. Is that okay? So obviously, very important part of English, using before and after. I hear it used misused a lot, so we need to be careful of the grammar on this one. Tuan, do you have anything to add?
I think with many things in English, some of these simple words that many students think they understand, before, after, I get it. But as you can see, there's many different ways we can use it. I think many students just use maybe one way, so it's nice to get some variation, just to be more natural of using them in different ways. But also just mastering these simple words and how to use them. So even the simplest words can be very difficult to use. I think the most common word in English is the, and that's probably the most difficult word. So don't feel that you've just learned something very quickly by just reading one rule. Have a look at all the different rules and the different ways we can use them. And I think by doing that, it gets you to master the language.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a big trap that a lot of learners fall into, is that they understand a word, they understand the meaning. So they think, oh, okay, I got it. I don't need to study it anymore. But really, you need to study it. You need to work on it until you can use it without thinking, right? That's really what we want. So, of course, go ahead and practice along with the conversation. We put out this conversations video last weekend, last Sunday, I believe. It should be popping up on the screen here somewhere soon in YouTube, but we'll try to post it in the comments on Facebook as well. And don't forget to practice in the comments as well. It gives us a chance to see if you understand the lesson, and it gives you a chance to practice, and we can correct it if it's not correct. So yeah, don't forget to do that. And also, don't forget, if you want to practice speaking, you can join the Acquire English Club. You can go to aenglish.club. We meet several times a week. Just an opportunity for you to have a conversation with us and some other learners. So please go ahead and check it out. It's aenglish.club. You can check out our website there. And I think that's going to do it. Anything to add, Tuan?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.